always say you either running with God or you running from him, but you can't do both. My name is Simene Walden, the host and creator of Blue Velvet, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Blue Velvet Show. This is a space for soft conversations with strong truths. For those of you who, like myself, have carried weight, survived pressure, and are learning how to live and lead without hardening. This is Blue Velvet. Somewhere along the way, we confuse soft with weak, but softness is not the absence of strength. Softness is not the absence of strength. It's strength that doesn't need to prove itself. Velvet is soft, but it does hold weight. It absorbs pressure without tearing. Fragile breaks when pressed. Softness does adapt. When healing begins, many people panic, not because healing hurts, but because softness feels unfamiliar and hardness is pretty predictable. Sometimes people kind of panic when you become too soft, or they panic when you become too sensitive, because hardness is very predictable. Popping off with an attitude and not talking and walking away and giving a silent treatment and everyone have a conversation, everyone to talk about what's really going on. That's predictable. Everybody knowing the family secrets, but the family don't want to talk about. That's predictable. It's broken and people don't want to come around and people are divided and everybody see that people got their favorites and their picks and then they go here with certain people are there, right? But nobody talks about it. Hardness is predictable. Let's talk about faith. Even in the church, we know we have some people who only deal with some people. And some people only show up to certain events when some people are in charge of it, right? Hardness is predictable. But let's talk about being soft. And I'm not just talking about women being soft. I'm talking about you men too, who need to learn how to be a little more gentle and a little more soft. And I'm not talking about your physical appearance. I'm not talking about with your presentation or your orientation, not even your preferences, but just being soft on the inside. Softness, much like transparency, requires trust. And faith, real faith, does not demand hardness. The Bible says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. It goes on, I believe it's in Hebrews 11, I think, where it goes on and talks about the people with faith. And it said they obtained a good report. You don't have to be hard to have faith. You don't have to be hard to be strong. Gentleness is not the ability to never feel. Gentleness is not a liability. It is often the sign that healing has taken root. Gentleness is often the sign that healing has taken root. So ask yourself, where is healing taking place in my life? Because I'm much more gentle than I've ever been before. Softness does not mean no boundaries, no clarity, no authority. That's not what softness means. But softness means being regulated, being grounded, being present. How many times have we been at events, or how many times you've been in places where you were physically there, but mentally and emotionally you checked out somewhere else? You are present, but you are not present. As parents, how many times did you say, I sent a present, I gave a present to my child, to my spouse, to my loved one, to my mom, to my siblings, but I did not give them my presence? How many times can we offer God things with our mouth, The word says that people can say they love God and worship God. And I'm paraphrasing. Please go read the scripture for yourself. But be far from him. How can that be? How can it be that we can say we love him, that we serve him, we do all these things for him, but yet we far from him? It's because we're not in his presence and we're not present with him. But may that stop in 2026 and beyond. May that stop in January of 2026. I'm no longer talking about the presence of God, but I never actually experienced his presence, and I'm never really present with him when he shows up. I want you to do a quick reflection. I'm going to pop these 2 questions up here, and I want you to think about it really quick. Where have I mistaken gentleness for weakness? Where have you mistaken gentleness for weakness? Where have you mistaken gentleness for weakness? How many times have people tried to take advantage of people being gentle instead of just accepting it as them being very kind people, very nice people, very loving people? And I'm not talking about gentle and allowing people to run over top of you. I'm not talking about gentle where you let people talk crazy to you. I'm not talking about gentle where you just allow people to do whatever they want to do to you and you don't say anything because you want to be quiet and you want to be meek and you want to be in order and you want God to fight your battles and you want, vengeance belongs to the Lord. And yes, that's what his word says. But gentleness does not mean that you just lay down and let people walk all over you. I can even speak from it from a professional perspective. You can have someone that's in a leadership role with you, beside you, above you, superior to you in that role. And people will take their gentleness as weakness. They can be very quiet, very mild-mannered. And then for whatever reason, people may decide that I want to talk crazy to this person one day. And you're like, well, wait a minute. My gentleness is not weakness. You're still going to respect me. How many times do that happen even with children? That you have some people who are not as rough and aggressive as some children, and they take that gentleness as a weakness, right? You see a lot of times in the school system where you have, children being bullied because they're gentle. One person is gentle and one person is not gentle. How much more with adults? It could be a coworker that you work with that they may be somebody who offers to buy lunch every week, someone who, offers to do, whatever, as a kind gesture, and people just continue to take advantage of it. Let's talk about romantic relationships. Let's talk about friendships. How many times in a friendship has someone used your gentleness as weakness? How many times in a relationship that did someone use your gentleness as weakness, that they felt like they could take advantage of you? And then when you decide to flip the switch on them and cut off all those benefits, now you're the problem. Let's talk about it. And then the second one. What would it look like for you to trust your softness again? What would that look like for you? Because again, everybody is not necessarily tough on the outside. There are a lot of you beautiful women that's watching me, very dainty, very feminine women that's watching me. Some of you are mothers, some of you are wives, some of you are sisters, some of you are CEOs, some of you are millionaires, some of you got it going on. Some of you have your own podcast with millions of views. Some of you are in ministry and can preach and can sing. And some of you are creators, and some of you are into fashion. Some of you are content creators. Some of you are influencers. I mean, beautiful. Some of you into the fashion industry, you in the beauty industry. You got it going on, girl. You got it going on, girl. You got it going on, girl. But you don't trust people. and you ain't soft on the inside, what would it look like if you were again? What would it look like if you were again? Let me speak to the lesbian community. You know, a lot of times people say when you see a very feminine girl with a not so feminine female, one who is more masculine presenting, and they always say, if you see that couple, just know the female is the one that runs a relationship, right? Because people look and say the hard exterior, they must be hard on the inside. But that's not always the case. A lot of times you can be very hard and present yourself masculine on the outside, but very soft on the inside. Very gentle on the inside. That's the core of you. You want to be loving. You want to be soft. What would it look like to trust your softness again? What would it look like to trust your softness in relationships, in family dynamics? I mean, family can be so cutthroat. I know. But what would it look like to trust your softness again? Everybody's not out to take advantage of you. Everybody's not out to lie to you. Everybody's not out to manipulate you. What would it look like if you trusted your softness again? I'm not just talking to females who are more masculine, but I'm talking to everybody now. What would it look like to trust your softness again? For you that's still holding on to unforgiveness and bitterness with your father, with your mother, with your siblings, what would it look like to be soft again with them? For those of you who are mad at the church, mad at the pastor, mad at somebody in the choir, mad at, the deacon and deaconess, mad at the usher board because you didn't become head usher by the fifth service that you served in. What would it look like to trust your softness again? For those of you that's in education, what would it look like for you to trust your softness as you deal with our babies every single day? I know they told you some old bogus stuff about don't smile until Thanksgiving, don't smile until Christmas, but that's dumb. That's real dumb. It's January 2026. So if you was in the academic system in August of 2025 and you have yet to smile, please make sure you put the biggest smile on your face every single day you go to that school and tell those students, I'm sorry that I didn't share all of this warm, joyous feeling with you the last 4 months because somebody told me it was a classroom management strategy and they lied to me. What would it cost you to be soft again? What would it look like to trust your softness again? I know for me, trusting my softness again is simultaneously like forgiving again. In order for me to be soft with certain people, I had to absolutely forgive them. Because there was no way I can go and be soft and fake like I'm soft and fake like everything is okay when it was not okay. I'm not a person that can do that. If something bothers me, if someone is bothering me, it's going to show. So it's either I just don't be around that person, I don't say much, or they're going to know exactly how I'm feeling without me even using words. So you ask yourself that. What will happen if I trusted my weakness, my softness again? Soft does not mean fragile. It means healed enough to feel. Can you feel all the emotions that you used to feel before? Or have you become so hardened that it's like, nah, I don't actually want to feel anything? And inadvertently, when you say, I don't want to feel anything, that means all of the good feelings that come, you don't feel them either. Some of you been craving love and companionship and a good relationship. But because you're so hard, you even push that out the way too. This is Blue Velvet, where we have strong conversations, very gentle tones. And so I want to be the first to tell you, stay gentle, but stay gentle with yourself. This is Blue Velvet, and I'm your host, Simene Walden, the student teacher. You're either running with God or you're running from God, but you can't do both. Listen, like, subscribe, and share. Send this podcast link to about 10 people that you know. Email it to them, text it to them, go on your WhatsApp. You can DM the link on all of your social media platforms. Please go follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn. I am not on Facebook at the moment, but when I get back, of course, you will see all of those things posted there too. Stay gentle with yourself. Forgive yourself first. Have conversations with yourself the same way you would be that you support your best friend if they came to you with a concern. Be more concerned with yourself in growing and becoming soft and becoming forgiving and becoming loving with yourself first. Because it's going to matriculate off to everybody else. You guys know that I am a proponent of prayer, and I'm a proponent of prayer in schools. We're going to be back praying for the school system publicly. I want you to adopt a school in your area. I want you to agree to pray for at least once a week. Drop it here in the chat. What is the name of the school? What is the city and state that you are praying for this school in? And let's watch God blow the minds of anybody that decides they want to bring harm to a school system. But God says not so. And so I love you guys today. This is episode 2 of Blue Velvet. Have a great evening. Peace.